Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey. Hey. Hallelujah. Hey. Give him, hallelujah, give him the highest praise, hallelujah, give him the highest praise, hallelujah, give him the highest praise.
Hey, come let's pray. Jehovah, come let worship Jehovah. He deserves the praise. Come let praise Him. He deserves everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, He gave me life. I will praise His name. I'm here to praise my God, oh, because He gave me life. Come celebrate. Come to play, come and worship Him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise.
Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Yeah. Hallelujah. Yeah. Give him the highest praise. Ooh, hallelujah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah to my Jesus. Yeah. Hallelujah.
It's Killer Beats
on the beats.
Any miss surprise me. Then I won't see me. Then I won't see you. Then I won't hear me. Then I won't hear you. Then it for the end. For the end. Then it for the end. For the end. Then I won't see me. Then I won't see you. Then I won't hear me. Then I won't hear you. Then it for the end. For the end. Then it for the end. For the end. They play a living, they more than before. They play a working set, they more than before. The fool are eating pie, they more than before. The car are driving, they more than before. So let it for the end, for the end. Let it for the end, oh, for the end. Let it for the end, for the end. They more for the end, aye boy, for the end. They don't want me go up there, you want jet, you want fun. Every day like me, oh, every day they talking about me, oh. They won't see you down, they don't want you fly, they want you da da da. Where they kudu kada kada, kada kidi kidi kada godo godo godo. I say every day like me, oh, every day they talking about me, oh. Beat dresses to flare. Oh yeah, well that one will go. Thank God you not go, you not go. Then I will see me, then I will see you, then I will hear me, then I will hear you. Then it for the end, for the end, then it for the end, for the end. Then I will see me, then I will see you, then I will hear me, then I will hear you. Then it for the end, for the end. Then it for the end, for the end. They play a living, more than before. They play a working set, more than before. The fool are eating pie, more than before. The car are driving, more than before. So let it for the end, for the end. Let it for the end, for the end. Let it for the end, for the end. They more for the end.
Somebody. That thing up where you have somebody. That thing up where you have somebody. That thing up where you have somebody. Come here, get out, you have somebody. Chicken, I have been here, I'll be going. See it, you are talking. Let's see the poor point where we have somebody. You will have somebody. But I got time by hey, people. I don't know, bring any on my product in the road. We have a poo, sir. We have a poo. We have a terrible. We have a poo. And see you are talking.
Okay, we want to welcome you. I'm Alfonso Z and Sot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpt-Tv. The search for the missing boys is on the rise. The story seems to die down, but we intend to keep the conversation going. The President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, is taking the tour. Well, before we start this program, a little bit not in the kind of usual mood that I'm in, but I just want to take this time to also, when you have a friend, co-workers, no matter where he or she from, and people know one another, work for a number of years, and something to happen like that, it's a tragic. As a matter of fact, a friend and brother, I would say a friend and brother, a co-worker, we work together, we work on Sunday, we work on Monday. He should have shown up yesterday to work. He did not. In the morning, company call, no response. Only in the afternoon to be told that he passed away. As a matter of fact, I went to work today, and I was told, I was shocked because this is somebody that I work with on Sunday. We work together on Monday. I came back to do a shift change and went back this morning to be told that he passed. That's to show that we are in a volatile war. Anthony, may his soul rest in peace. He was a very good friend and a nice guy who can work around people's schedule to fill in and do whatever he can. So it was a shock to everybody today, but I just want to acknowledge that. I just still can't believe it. What? Let's keep the ball rolling to all our viewers and listeners across the globe. We want to welcome you to this evening broadcast. Hopefully, the system in Liberia will do us a favor that the three missing boys are yet to find answers. And that's why we brought in the Temple of Justice. That's the final habitat of the justice system in the Republic of Liberia. What's going on? Hopefully, the system will serve us well. Oh, getting problem technical team to grant me answer. Okay, just bear with us. He's doing everything possibly he can to log in here with us, and we will try. But in the past, we have kept this conversation going, try to give a fair share. We had invited the government of the Republic of Liberia, especially the National Police Authority, who was at the time in custody of the case, especially Deputy Police Chief of Public Affairs Moses Carter. We invited him here, and several occasions he promised to show up, but he didn't show out. But in the interim, we talked to the spokesperson a couple of months ago. While we are trying to get these folks in, let me just bring you the interactions that we had in the past. And hopefully when he joins us here today, let's see the different development that is emerging from that end. Hopefully my team of analysts and contributors, they will also be in here to will also dwell on the visit of the President of the Republic of Liberia. We've been told the President will surface in the southeastern side, specifically Grange, that comes this Friday. We're just in a chat with the Lieutenant Director Kwame Opawis is currently in Tapeta. The President convoy left Saclay, and they are heading in that direction. They're going to be a welcoming ceremony there as well. So we keep track of that, trying to see if we could get Kwame to also give us update. But let me just bring you my last interview 2 months ago with the spokesperson, that's Pastor Waxing, and Mr. Cannon here right here on the Liberia Public Radio while we try to bring him on. I am Alfonso Z, and so stay tuned. You guys are more important to this process here. Pastor Waxing and Mr. Samokat, good evening. Thank you for joining me here. I'm Alfonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Zion. I'm fine.
Thank you. I'm so fine.
Okay. Look, to be honest, first and foremost, my prayers and thought goes out to the family. I don't think you guys deserve to see what is unfolding in your own country. You're not in Guinea, you're not in Ghana, you're not in Burkina Faso, you are in Liberia. To go through what you are going through here, my prayers and thought goes out to you. But I'm going to keep it professional as well to ask all of the tough questions so that we can get a clear insight of what is going on. Are we ready to roll?
Yeah, sure.
We are ready. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so gentlemen, you talk to me, Pastor, Mr. Conant, you talk to me. This whole thing here, what is the versions of the family side in terms of the man allegedly being accused, St. Moses? Am I correct?
Yes, it's Moses and one Abraham Samuel. They are two persons.
Okay, Moses and Abraham Samuel. How long this family being attached to these two people here? How long? Do you have an idea? With Moses. So how long you guys been knowing this Moses?
So Moses has been a family friend to the Blamos and that of the Buemas for over 30 years. Over 30 years. The children in question are children that grew up in his hands. The family know him very, very well. Let's also speak to that issue.
Well, realistically, we are talking about over 35 years, in fact. Over 35 years. We've been knowing Moses too long. In fact, we knew Moses' father long ago in the 70s. Because we are like adjacent family members. All right in Tobo village, where his father used to actually have a kind of a garden area there. Some about 77, 75, 76, 77, all the way up. So we have been way by friends. We're talking about 40 years plus.
Okay,
in the
but
case of the Burma.
Okay, what I'm asking, the reason I'm asking these people, knowing somebody for 30 years, 40 years, okay, that's that one portion of it. How well in terms of the inner part of knowing this gentleman, T.S. Moses, Had there been anything in the past, in the history, that you suspected of he doing something out of the way?
Except transfer by habit. The father was actually known to be a ritualist. All right, I remember that vividly, as far back from the 70s, when he had a kind of a confirm to where Moses got his funeral home. But for Moses, it is of recent I started to get all of the intel regarding his ritualistic involvement, which have become a very surprise to me. Quite frankly, Bishop or Pastor, I don't want to lie to you. And the amount of stories that are coming to us regarding Moses' ritualistic gains or deeds are all becoming an astonishment to me. I least expected a man who actually appears so nice, so good, to be such a ritualist.
Are these people coming forward to tell the family his history, things that he been involved in? Are they coming forward to tell the family?
Yes. In fact, on all of the talk shows we appear, people call and explain the ordeal that they have had with Moses. Trust me, they were so pathetic. So look, the thing is such that Moses is doing whatever he's involved into like a man who is deeply intrinsic with some authority backing him. Because all of what we've been hearing of him recent times are things that if somebody is involved into ritualistic killings and it's not being connected, it's not intrinsic into some authority's hands, such person could actually not have such a long life like Moses is having.
So, with this my insight, and I don't mean to sound ridiculous here. I sympathize with the situation. I wouldn't like to see my brother, any family member, any Liberian for that reason, just depart from their family involuntarily against their will. So, with all of this, are these people willing to come forward in the public? Because when it goes before the court, it no longer becomes a circumstantial. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how people talking. Are they willing to come out? And I know people are in fear as well. I understand the context where they are coming from. It's not like the Western world where there will be no security. So why is this going on? What is the police, what the authority are telling you people? Where do you guys still believe these people are still alive? Okay.
Yes, of course we believe that they are still alive.
Just,
and I can tell you for free, and I can tell you for
my team of analysts here. That was a conversation then. So let's see what a new development has emerged. My team of analysts standing by. Mr. Leo Johnson is based in Canada, is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, is joining us here. Leo, thank you for your expertise. And of course, based in Atlanta, Georgia, the state that recently turned the way order to put Joe Biden on the top, is contributor Amos George. Okay, well, George is working out things. Let me just bring in Leo. Leo, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. Soul. Thank you for having me on this evening.
Okay, the story, people try to put it under the carpet. I don't think it's worth doing that, and that's why we brought this bill into Temple of Justice. That's the final arbiter of court system in the land. We try bringing the spokesperson to live via video, but you know, Liberia internet, that's another different ballgame. But he's joining us here, and I will want you to listen. And later on, we're going to have the conversation. Let me go here and see. Is the pastor here? Pastor Waxing, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you doing?
Okay, good. Okay, whether the video section works or not, we need to have this conversation going. Thank you for joining us here. I know we talked a couple of months ago, but it has been the time now. So this is not something that really found pleasure for us to have this sort of conversation. But indeed, that's what we are assigned to do, and that's why we are making a follow through on the status of the three gentlemen yet to be formed in Liberia. I don't know whether there's a new development this evening, and you can put it into context. Again, good evening, and thank you for joining us here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being on this platform to let the world know how this case has been going and where it is as it stands.
Okay, so talk to me here. Today is the 17th date of what, February. How long we've been talking this thing here? How long? Where are we? How far are you? And how long can you go with this, Pastor?
Well, with the time like 40 minutes from now, it will be approximately, it will be exactly 4 months that we are talking about since our kids went missing. But as you are aware, and we have been explaining, this case has been continuing and is still ongoing as we are aware as families until we can get our children back. But let it be clear and know that our kids are still alive. They are doing fine. The purpose for which they have been
In what
held.
context? I had to interrupt, but when you say that, I also want an obligation to involve, to have my audience explicit, to have them. You say they are still alive. Where are they? Do you talk to them?
Well, they are in Liberia. They are well in the city here with us. It's just that they've been heavily protected, which we can say for a fact because we get daily intel about their whereabouts. It's just that they move them from one location to another, which is not allowing us to carry on citizen arrest. But how be it, and in the spirit of cooperation, we are doing all we can as families to be able to work with the law in order to get to the bottom of this peacefully without anyone getting hurt. But we can assure you that our children are alive and they are doing well.
Okay, Pastor, it is a painful conversation. I wouldn't like people to talk about my son or daughter, who I can see physically by just hearing these people, they are doing well, which of course we want them to do. When you say moving them from one point to another, who is executing that exercise as far as you are concerned with your intel?
Those that have caught them in captive are the ones doing that. All of the accomplices, Moses and his partner and whoever they are working with and for are the ones doing that. And so, but we are sure that our kids are alive and we want the world to know that our children are still alive.
So who is providing that escort moving here? Have you informed the security apparatus that, hey, these kids, they are alive? This is where they are. They are in Ghanaville. They are in the suburb of Painesville. They are around Burraville, all of those places. Do you know specifically the locations of these children? Who is providing this intel and who are they?
Well, these are sources we can disclose for security reasons so that we don't lose communication with them and contact from hearing from our kids. But let it be known again that our children are still alive. You know, the issue of informing the security and the place we've reached, we can no longer trust the Liberian National Police because we feel they have been compromised from the way the people behave. Imagine we went for the peaceful protest. The people went there as if they were prepared for war, beating us, using tear gas on us, and even taking us to a place that we didn't even know it was by the help of God. Through our securities, alike of our father, Mr. Blammer, who had his phone that slipped into his booth, was able to make call to the radio station and to our counselor that they were able to take them to the Liberian National Police. So going back now to tell them, oh, our children are so and so place, we need you guys to go there, it will just be a waste of time. The people are not already in our interest. How will they go and fight for us? So, the people know what's happening.
So when you say that they are alive, the people are not in your interest, the security system is, unfortunately, is not in your charge. It is under the Liberian National Police, the NSA, or other defense intelligence have the constitutional authority to effect an arrest. So if you definitively for sure know the locations of these children, why not take the bull by the horn and say, hey, this is where my kid, this is where our kids, and how can you do that? You don't have the authority to effect an arrest. And so what is the guarantee? What can ordinary folks that are listening to us to say here that the people that are providing this information it's not part of a conspiracy or some sort of red meat they are throwing out there?
Well, we want to say that that's not red media that is being thrown out there. We have of the conviction and the hope because of our belief in God. We've not had any experience, any feeling of anything happening to our children. That sorrow have never come upon us. Every day we wake up, though we have sleepless nights, but the exuberance, the enthusiasm to pursue this case is every day renewed, and we are strengthened as families so that we can push to the letter. If for any reason we could do this all by ourselves, by this time we've brought this to an end. But we decided to get stake actors involved so that they can help us and let it not be that we were making up our own stories. But we want to prove to our accusers, those who took our children, wrong, that whatever they have told us was not the right story. And this is why we are doing everything possible as families, to the point that we went to the site where they said this purported incident took place. We have videos, we took photos of the place. It doesn't even look like a crime scene. It does not even look like a place people have been using over the time. According to them, when the place was open, they've been passing there. According to even the man who got a kingdom by the name of Bobo, who has been using the place from the island to the village, where he got a church and working with the people, it does not even look like a place that someone has been using. You know, too many things have been happening, but what we can say now is the fact that we are getting closer to the truth.
We say getting closer. To what extent? How far you are getting to this end of this marathon here? And I don't want to sound ridiculous here this evening here, but it's part of our job to ask all of the tough questions as well.
No problem.
Is there any? Do you think any family members are involved in this, or for whatever reason that I just don't know that we need to know as a public?
Well, for now, the only people we know involved in this is Mr. Moses Ahuswe and that of his partner, Abraham G. Samuels. The both of them are working together. They run the gold mine for which our children went to work for them. So those are the two persons we know for now. If for any reason they would tell us other that are involved, we will highly appreciate. But as it stands, they are the two persons we know for now.
As a Liberian, it is your country. We have tons of advocacy group, actors, people who put fingers in the throat of the government. But this seems to be left on the shoulders of the family alumni. Is that how you feel, or are they with you? And to what extent?
Well, some are with us while others are sitting and waiting for us to reach them. Let me break it up to speed. For the past 1 month and some weeks, as we were quiet, we were working in the back with other local and international partners who have advised us to follow the Lord, be quiet, and do what is right until the appropriate time, while they are working behind the scene too, and we will see an outcome of what is happening. And it was interesting to know that because of what we've done, by the grace of God, the House of Law, the House of Legislature have taken interest into this matter, and as we speak, is currently on the floor for discussion. And they will be inviting the police director and that of the justice minister to give them a comprehensive report of where they are with this. And we'll also be there invited to tell them, and then we can further have a time where we can exchange questions so that the public can be clarified and know of exactly what has been happening. But we want to commend those that are available. The Liberia Council of Churches, the Interreligious Council have gotten involved, the Liberia National Bar Association have gotten involved, the Independent Human Rights Commission have gotten involved, and the Muslim community, and a lot more that we've rating, they have gotten involved, and most especially a big thanks to ECOWAS, who have gotten involved greatly with some strong letter of communication to the Justice Minister to update the international body on the status of this case. So as it stands, people are working with us, and likewise, we are working to as family single-handedly.
Are you satisfied? I'm going to be going to my colleagues. I'll just try to do a little tit-a-toe, and they also will be asking their questions. Are you satisfied with the move by the lawmakers, especially to Mosorado. I do believe these young folks represent, they are from different, or either from the same constituents. You have representatives.
Yeah, they are from District 17.
District 17, and you have senators.
With the representative is Hassan Kezuru.
And then when you look at the Mosorado County in its totality, you have Sir Joseph and Senator Daros Delon, correct?
Yes.
Have the family engaged these people? Look, these are your people, not just only they are Liberian, they are also from your constituents. It doesn't matter whether they voted for or against. And you say they are getting involved. What are they been waiting for? You reach out to them? Do you see their action as authentic after all of these months?
Initially, when they started, we started to engage the Liberian police, hoping that we could get the proper redress and justice, unearthing what has really happened. But in the process, we also tried to reach our representative in person, Honorable Hassan Kezulu, who expressed sorrow and offered to help by allowing us to use his radio station. But then in that vein, we were to provide fuel that they could use in order to help us air that. But as it may be,
you have to what? Provide what? Fuel?
Fuel, yeah, fuel for the generator in order to help us continue to spread the message of our missing children, which of course we heard and we reverted back as families.
Pastor, that sounds so ridiculous to me. Honestly, I'm in Rhode Island here. If there's anything going on happens to my family here, all I need to do, the city authority, the city corporation, the police, if it requires to reach to the congressman, and I know it sounds ugly to make this sort of comparison, but to hear that you have to buy fuel and looking for your son, who is also a member of that county, the constituents, moreover, is a citizen of the Republic of Liberia, to buy fuel in order to talk to people. Is that what you're telling me?
Like, seriously, that's what happened.
And you believe those people are going to find remedy to this sort of plight over 3, 4, 5 months now, if I could get it correct on top of my head?
4 months exactly, minutes from now. Yes, what we think is that almost 103 persons in the House, both houses, senators and that of representatives, we believe that all of them will not and cannot be compromised. If for any reason others will not buy interest, we know others will buy interest because the life of our children matters. This could be any of their family members. This could also be any of their relatives. This will even be somebody right on their foot. So we are certain that something good is going to come from out of this, and very, very soon, because the matter is being taken very seriously. It's not only about our 3 children now, but all of the mysterious deaths that have taken place in Liberia. Both the police director and that of the justice minister will have to answer to them.
Do you feel humiliated, understanding, considering all that is been going on, the family as a whole?
Well, from the end of the police, we feel that way because the police are not even checking on us. They are not even concerned about our security. The last time we complained about some rebel generals that were telling us and checking for us here and there, for what reason, what purpose, they have never done that. The police didn't even care to show concern. Oh, this thing you guys are talking about, how can we look into it? How can we bring these people to a table discussion? Why are they looking for you guys? Nothing of such happened. But that's the country. You know, initially our president told us that we all should have CCTV at our homes. How can we, when we don't have stable electricity? How many persons working that will full CCTV that will run 24 hours? More precisely, how many persons can afford the best CCTV for their homes? So all of these things, whenever we see them and hear them, we cannot be secure for ourselves. This is why we trust in God, who is our overall security for all that we do.
Okay, I'm gonna be switching gears. We have before I go there is a petition here. What is the hope and fate of this petition here? I don't understand. Petition who? You go into ECOWAS? Is this something that the government of Liberia, the security system, cannot resolve? That you have to take this case to ECOWAS?
Well, currently, as it stands, we have petitioned the both houses to be able to intervene as our parents, and wherein we cannot get a redress, we will have ECOWAS also informed, because ECOWAS have been with us from the onset. We've rated them, and they said they're going to work with our lawyer in the Justice Ministry. But what really prompted the ECOWAS to have gotten so strong on the Minister of Justice is the fact that when we said that we cannot trust the investigation of the police, therefore we need an independent investigation, the Justice Minister looked us in the faces as family and said that we got to bring in our own investigators and we have to pay them because they don't have money in covers for that. We say, really? Okay, let's have a few words and then get back to you. That's how, with the advice of our counselor, including our Lord Samuel Kofi Woos II, who has been helping us on a pro bono service, and he said, no, this cannot be. It is the right and duty of the government to be able to seek the welfare of its citizens. So therefore, we wrote him, asking him, and listing the list of credible institutions that I just listed: the Interreligious Council, the INCHR, that's the National Independent Human Rights Commission, the United Nations High Commission on Human Rights. They are also involved. We have the Liberia National Bar Association. We've got the Council of Churches. So we said, let's use these people to be able to.
Pastor, I have to interrupt here before I go there. What is the support of the civil society? I don't get it. I'm trying to wrap my head around this thing here, but I just don't get it. So it seems to me what is happening in Liberia, when your house is on fire, you better find where to find some sort of creek to put it out. If my own is on fire, I leave my own with God. That seems to be the situation. It is a summertime thing in the country that when something happens, everybody will be like a grabber hand and kind of scramble over it. In less than 2-3 days, you're on your own. That seems to be the case in Liberia.
Well, the civil society, which comprises of all other people and their mother is the National Independent Human Rights Commission. They've told us they've been hearing the entire story, but we've not rated them. So they were waiting for us to reach them. And now that finally we've reached them, they will see how best they can help us in our endeavor. But from what they've seen, what they realized with the documents provided, videos, and that of footage, they said that the case is not anything hard. Once we have 3 alleged survivors and other people who have given themselves as witnesses, they can be able to look into the case. But we're still waiting on the Justice Minister to be able to finally accept to create this panel until we decide to say, no, let's go and see our fathers, by the lawmakers who will help us in this endeavor. And this is why we've reached them. Now that as it stands, we are before them and we are listening to them as they have given us their word. We hold them for the word, wherein, if we're not still satisfied in getting the redress, then we will proceed to the ECOWAS court.
So if I'm right, what his name? St. Moses and the other gentlemen, they are the alleged Samuels. They are the alleged accuser. Is that a family accusing them, or is it a state security holding them as a prime suspect? Because my understanding, get me right, the
family have accused them, and the state is also holding them as accused because they have made it that, oh yes, the children went to work for them. They were the last that saw the children, and since then the children cannot be found.
Okay, hold on the line. I'm going to be switching the audio. I'm going to be going to my analysts here. They've been listening attentively so that they can also ask their concern, their questions. It's a team what we're doing here. Our senior analyst, Mr. Leo Johnson, is based in Canada, is here with us. Mr. Amos George is based in Atlanta, Georgia, is also here. Gentlemen, hold on 1 second, Pastor. Gentlemen, let me just turn to you guys here. It's just unbelievable. Pa George.
Yeah.
You listen to Pastor Waxin, who happens to be the spokesperson of the 3 missing boys. I hear, according to him, they are alive, they are aware, they are moving around. When you hear that, what's going through your mind? What's your question to him?
Well, let me say to Pastor Watson, thank you for the effort they're doing with this case here. I know it's been agonizing for a very long time. And a group I associated with called the Justice Forum, I think today or yesterday, they were at the Capitol building. But Pastor, I listened to it very keenly. This is very painful but there are some questions that I really want to ask you. In your opening statement, you said that you people got credible intel that these boys are in Monrovia. They are just moving in around. And I want to repeat this question to you. Why you can't take matter into your hand? Second, have you ever spoken to these children by any means since the moving in around Monrovia? Have you ever spoken to any of them by any means?
Okay, hold on, and I'm going to go back to him, like he answer, and then we'll go to Leo.
Yeah.
Pastor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I got the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the first one. Well, our country and our society is not like the Western world. Taking matter into your hands right now, it almost be like giving your life up. Most especially where we got to be securities of our own. We got professional people who know themselves very well, who will not even think of sitting in court for a longer time. Those people pass off. Nothing good was said. Nothing good came out of it. And now we're talking about people who don't even have no relationship. Our names mean nothing in society. Taking the law into our own hands, it will always be the wiping our entire name from the face of the earth, most especially Liberia. So we choose not to take the law into our hands, but rather to follow suit until we can prove everyone involved in this case wrong. Secondly, that we have not spoken to them. I was interested to know that people who take care of this children make boast. They will be talking. And the society is such that you are dealing with 3 families of different vernacular: the VAR, the crew, the manor, and the guild. You got people who are connected to us one way or the other. You're also interested to know that when we went for the preliminary hearing at the Liberia National Police Headquarters with the alleged survivor and some witnesses, one of the boys was speaking pity, telling the friends that, so you mean these people brought us all the way in town to lie? Wow. And these other people don't know what lie is, we will lie for them. And not knowing that one of our family members was right behind. When they said that, we brought that to the police attention. The police said, no, that's not true. It came to serious noise. We had to recuse ourselves from that hearing, and we could not trust the police any longer. So too many things have been happening. God has been working on our behalf. Despite our running around, we have been praying. We got people who are joining us in prayer. And every time God speaks, the voice is very clear.
Okay, let me go to Leo there. Leo.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few questions. First of all, I must say, incredible courage from this family for keeping this matter alive and still active, and to the media as well, all of you, Mr. Sue, and everybody who's gonna remain on this thing to try and see it to a logical conclusion, whatever that may be. What's running through my mind here is that let's assume we've heard clearly. I've said to people from the government side, let's stop giving people the impression that we can do what we are not capable of doing. I believe the Liberian National Police or our justice system is unable to handle this. Again, I'm taking all things on face value, whether foul play or not. I don't think they have the logistics, the ability, nor the expertise to be able to actually handle this. But from the family's end, I'm just a bit concerned, especially having you on the phone, Pastor Elijah. Being a pastor, how come the silence of the religious community, civil society groups, how come it's so deafening when this issue is no longer a secret issue? It's out in the public, it's open. I'm wondering, have you been able to mobilize your fellow pastors? I know there are all these pastoral networks, and I know the religious institutions tend to still be very powerful. I'm a bit concerned that there isn't the level of mobilization I'm seeing coming from someone like your side, Pastor Elijah, and maybe that's happening, I don't know. But have you sought the level of pressure that civil society in Liberia can bring to bear on matter like this?
Pastor, are you there?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Can I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you ever so much, and I appreciate your question. Let me admit that the Liberia Council of Churches, Bishop Cotto Brown, has been working with us greatly. And as members of the Council of Churches, until they've gotten all necessary proof to be able to come out to the public, they are working with the government to establish that. But from my end, as a servant of God, upon hearing this incident, even before leaving for the bush in October, I was able to connect with my team of pastors, and they did praying with me and the family. Besides, I was just elected as the Secretary General of the Liberia Charismatic Ministries, an association of pastors and ministries that are geared to propagating the gospel, praying with each other, and teaching. So they have all been there helping me in prayers. One way or the other, asking their congregation to join us in prayer. But we are waiting for the national body to speak, that having to be the Liberia Council of Churches. And also to the issue of the civil society organizations. We have been working with you, like I said, and the overall, the mother of all of them have gotten involved, the Independent National Human Rights Commission. And they will do all they can to be able to help in this and then to get the report that they need to be able to allow the world to be informed. These are the efforts that we've been making. We're not just talking, we're not just moving around, we're not just making noise. We are also praying and building connection with people that will be able to help us in this endeavor.
I'd like to follow up on this, Mr. Soul. I'd like to make a quick follow-up here. And this is strange to me, first of all. We've seen the Liberia Council of Churches and other religions who speak out on all sorts of issues without even having any information. When it comes to the auditors, that mysteriously were killed, or other things we're seeing in the country, protest issue. And I'm shocked with the level of detail that we've been hearing from the family side in terms of their confidence that the boys are still alive, with the fact that even to the place where people have pinpointed areas that they know that these boys are. Are you telling me it is prudent for the Liberian Council of Churches and all these other groups to be working undercover behind the scenes when this issue is already an open air knowledge? I'm a bit concerned here what wisdom is actually in that now. The Liberian Council of Churches just recently had come up with all kinds of stuff against the government, things that they were working on together. So I can understand how we say they need all of the facts, all of the stories, when the family is giving us this in-depth analysis and play by play with informants that they're getting information from, that these boys are alive, including even indicating that places that they may have been kept. And all of a sudden we need to be working behind the scene. And I'm also concerned here that all of the people so far that have been involved with this, according to you, Pastor, maybe you can clarify this for me, seem to be uncomfortable working behind the scene, waiting for all the facts. Where would the facts come from when you're telling me the police is falling short? You're telling me the police have been coming up short. It's been like 6 months almost. This is not 1 week old or 2 weeks old. And at this point, literally the evidences or the trail is drying up because the Liberia National Police, I've heard no recent updates from them on any new information whatsoever. So whose facts are these people waiting for to mount the type of pressure we need to see in the public?
Pastor?
Yes, thank you so much for that. That has also been our concern. But you know, others got their way and style of working. Imagine if the justice minister can tell us as families to go and talk to people who we see credible that can serve on the panel of investigation. Why do you think these people will not also wait for us to write them or for them to get the facts? You know, things in Liberia are just different. You can never tell, you never know until you go there, you start asking, and they'll tell you this is how we work, this is how things are like. You know, people don't just take interest in things that might also bring them up to speed or that might also promote their entities. Let me commend few media institutions who have really given us their platform without a dime. When this entire thing happened, they will call us and will say, oh, you guys need to be at this place. You guys need to come up here and talk. And we've made almost close to 40 appearances, both local and national, with these media institutions. So it's hard to answer for them, but I know that they all have their own way of working, which they are following or they are dealing with, for which they don't want to come out now. But the Catholic Bishop Conference of Liberia, they came up with a press statement. They also made mention of this because the Blamos are from the Catholic Church, and then they were rating. So I think they had to include that into their press statement that they made to the government concerning things that were happening in the country. And so, like I said, everybody got their style of working, but we as families, we will not give up. Even if it means that we write them, we reach them, we are willing to do that.
Mr. To, can I come in? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead, Pa George.
Let me ask the Reverend. Said that the police director told them they could bring in their own investigator at the cost. Did two people ask the police director what is the role, the justice minister, what is the role of the justice ministry that if a citizen allegedly gone missing, what is the role of the minister of justice and that of the police to play that they are not asking you people to bring in your own expertise? Did you people ask him that question? Secondly, let me go back a little bit. When this case happened, there was this rumor that this boy was taken into a Oporon Society bush in Palm County. And I spoke on a platform and I said that was a lie. So how come these boys now were allegedly moved to Monrovia? How did that transfer from that Oporon bush that people were alleging to Monrovia? And let me just close on St. Moses. St. Moses does business with the government. So I believe there's a conflict of interest there, right there, because St. Moses does business with the government. But from you, Pastor, what has the police told you? Statement that they were able to get from St. Moses and his partner. Have you people been briefed on the statement that they got from them? And what is the stand right now with St. Moses? Is he a person of interest or what?
Okay, let me take it from bottom to top. The one you just completed, are you getting me?
Yeah. We are here. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was interesting to know first that on the 17th of October, this incident took place. On the 18th, that fateful Sunday, Moses was saying in Bon Mines, given the alleged survivor money. For what purpose, we did not know. Moses also, according to the police there, that they took statement from Moses and they did not arrest Moses, best known to them. As it stands, the police said that Moses is a person of interest until they can see the corporate dilated as evidence of death or wounds or whatever.
Yeah.
They can arrest him and send him to court. But then on the issue of the conflict of interest that were baffled us, they are still doing business with Moses, giving Moses bodies, taking bodies to Moses for autopsies. Where's the stand of the government? After we've accused this man and they have admitted that yes, indeed, yes, they saw these children, they hired these children, and all of that sin, and you are staying there with Moses and Abraham Samuels? Okay, we'll leave it at that, because that's the country we find ourselves in. The police have not briefed us of where the case is as we stand since our faithful meeting at the preliminary hearing on December 18 at the police headquarters that ended with noise. Up to present, we've not gotten one report from the Liberia National Police. Not even the report that should have been given to us long since when we were brutalized at our peaceful protest, tear gas and beaten. The police have not done that. It will also interest you to know that on January 6th of this year, 2021, when we first met the Justice Minister, where he told us the rest I will come to, the police could not even present a victim report to the Justice Minister, only telling the people our behavior, how we are reacting, we are not in compliance, we don't want to understand them, and all of that. To the point that the Justice Minister still feel that we, the families, we have refused to go and see the body, that the purported body that they brought under the canopy of drowning that was found in the Anakin village. We've refused to go. We are not in compliance with the police. It's just the minister still have that at the back of his mind, because that's what the police keep telling him. To no avail, we went there on that fateful November 10th. We even got photos of that body that they brought, a very, very old man, between the ages of 70 years and above, old man.
Yeah, I think I remember the last interview. You guys went there and they said the body that was a different body completely.
Yeah, it was a different body. And, you know, the police are trying to make us believe that yes, indeed that happened, and let it be known that there was nothing of such. Kingdom Capsa, they are just make up story, so we can believe that oh yes, indeed it really happened. Nothing of such happened.
Okay, so let me go
if you
to
have the opportunity. Yeah, let me take the last question concerning the issue of the justice minister.
Okay, yeah, answer that. Then I will go to our online.
Yeah, the justice minister behavior in our meeting with him shows that he never even had interest in meeting with us. We sent the justice minister two communications on the 14th of December, officially informing him, and then on the 21st of December of our recusal from the preliminary hearing, all because of the police behavior. When we got to that meeting, the justice minister was kind of like asking him, so what you people say? After we've written in that we wanted an independent investigation where you will say, okay, my people, seeing what you have written to me, what you've sent to me, we've had this committee, will it be okay for you guys to work with? But instead, he's saying that it will mean that because they are paying the people, that will mean that they are also the compromise or prejudice. So therefore, we should find our own investigators and be able to pay them. It was so frustrating that day for us. But notwithstanding, we choose not to get frustrated, but rather to continue to fight. That's where we are with it.
Okay, so let me go to our onliners here. Someone here, Mr. Samuel Hammer here, have a question here for you. And And it reads, is it true that, okay, I'll kind of try to paraphrase here. Is it true at once it was reported that one of the drowned boys' cell phone was used by someone to place a phone call to his girlfriend or family member? Is that true?
Yes, that is true. Even at the point, even on the 19, while we were in Bone Mines at the police station, there was still calls coming from the boy phone, and that happened to be boy with brain there. Calls were still coming to, they were even calling his fiancé while we were in Bone Mines. And the family said, okay, you take this call. They gave it to the police. The police said they couldn't take the call.
So where is the phone we are talking about? Where is that phone? In whose possession is that phone?
Right now, we don't know, but this is something that also interesting.
So,
right?
yeah, hold on. But if you say you don't know, how can those phone calls were tracked, and how can you got those information that people were still, or the number was still active?
They've been calling Bobby, our fiancée, one Nora Dwyer. They've been calling her. But here's the thing about it, right? Mm-hmm. We provided the contacts of the three boys. Police, let's trace the people call them. The police have not given us one information for that, which the GSM company can do for you. They can give you the call log, the time interval who you call, and all of that. The GSM company can also retrieve SMS that were sent. Yeah. So why is it that the police cannot give us the call log who these people interacted with? We gave them the numbers. Even that of Moses and Abraham Samuel, we give that number. Let these people check the call. Let's know who these people talk to over the next 24 hours or even 48 hours.
You have a lawyer now who formerly served with the Kelly and Justice Peace Commission, Samuel Kofi Wu. He's been in assistant, even though you sent me his number. I wished I extended an invitation yet to appear. He knows the rule of the game. Why can't the family push to reach the GSM family company to get the phone laws here, or why not go to the house to subpoena these people here to get the phone law? Because that will determine the activeness of those lines when the last call came in, and they're going to look at when these people went missing and the sort of communication. Who are those people sending those text messages, and who are those people making those calls? Do you know them? Anybody reveal anything to you?
And that's where we are getting right now. Like I initially said, we are getting there, because these are the things we will ask the both houses to request of the police, and then bring the call logs of these people from the 15th up to the 20th. Let's see who these people were talking with, who the last call they spoke with, when last the phone was on, and comparing with the time that the drowning incident took place. When the drowning incident took place, according to them, what was the time again that was called from those numbers? So these are the things we expect.
It seems to me, everything here you are saying, is it based on exception, what people say, hearsay, and that cannot be proven to before the court of competent jurisdiction. That's a circumstantial evidence right there. Because you don't have the document on hand, you do not have the phone laws. Nobody is willing. If these people are honestly, if they are Liberian and they know these people, and my colleague, our colleague, Mr. Joyce, asked a question here. These people were taken from the Pora or Sandy Bush to Morovia. Which car or which vehicle facilitated them? Is there any photo in that regard? Any license plate? And these people that are making these calls with these people, they are not providing anything of evidence. So how can you go before the court of competent jurisdiction? Don't get me wrong. It is absurd. It is ridiculous to see what is going on. But like the conversation we're talking about here, when it goes before the law, that's a different game.
So that's why our lawyer is trying to exert every effort, everything from the police, so that we can be able to get to the court. Right now, we're trying to establish the fact, because the police have not even established whether there was a drowning or not. The police have not established that.
But do you agree with me? Those are circumstantial evidence or assertions that you are putting forward based on what people are telling you.
Yes, it's not just based upon what people are telling us, but I tell you for the fact, if we can get a call logs, and if we get them, which I'm going to forward to you so you can let the public know, but we've not gotten them, and we will not get them until the court orders that. The police can order that for investigation, and they will give it to them. But under the such circumstances, we can if our case is not yet in court. So that's where we find ourselves.
Yeah,
but if the police can have that and brief us only, then we will let the public know that, oh yes, at about this time, our children phone were on. They were able to make calls to XYZ person. Who was that person? What was the essence of the call? We'll be able to establish that, which will further help us with the case. But as it stands, we cannot request it because our case is not in court yet. The police have not found the rightful evidences that they need to send the court to be able to prosecute both say Moses and that of Abraham Samuels. So that's where it stands. This is why we are still using the other means around trying to get independent investigators, now getting the House involved so they can see at best they can look into the case, request for the call logs, and we'll be able to use them to establish more facts.
Okay, before I go back to my colleagues here for follow conversation, I'm sorry, I know it is late. Can you convince me?
No, it's okay for me.
Yeah, can you convince me, or is there anything believable for that matter? Those people or those sources that are calling the family, telling them they are moved them from the poorer or whatever out on the Bon or Lofa area, they are in Morovia, they're taking them from point A, they are getting them to point B. Do you believe in those people? Are they willing to come forward, or is this part of this? I see that as a game, because these are lives of people, young to Liberians, who knows the future of the country, and nobody is willing to come forward to make your case, but instead they are making phone calls. Do you believe in those people, or is that somebody just messing up, playing games with the family as well?
Well, let me say this for the public consumption, that the name Blamo is a household name in Liberia. The Kone is also a household name. The Bwenkia is also a household name. The Blamos from 2008 to 2020, they suffer a tragedy that nobody could believe. We lost our daughter. Why in that time of mourning, in March of 2020, again, we lost our last son. That has called a public attention, a crowd to the Blamos. And now seeing that another one wants to happen, it has drawn the attention of everybody. Besides, people's ears are open. People have even gone their own way to find out what really is happening, that the family will be going through this. We believe in these people. These are people that don't want to see these things happening. But how can they speak it out in the public? They are afraid for their lives. They are afraid for their lives. So, for the fact that they chose to let us know, give us hope, confidence, and we believed with the help of God that what they are saying is true, because every time we go to pray, every time we go to cry before God, we don't see anything wrong. We don't hear anything wrong. Lord, speak to us. Lord, tell us what's happening. Nothing wrong is being shown to us. So we believe these people, whether they choose to come to testify publicly, that could be another thing we can look at, because at that point, their lives will be in show. And when they come up with whatever they will say, the state will be on obligation, because that's one thing we were asked for, to protect their lives. But we believe in them.
Okay, let me go to my colleague there, Mr. Johnson. Leo.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, it's a very tough place. And again, my heart goes out to the families, especially Pastor, to all of the families going through this very difficult situation. Impossible to imagine. But I'm sitting here going, how can you be on one hand, you've given the police all this lead. The police doesn't seem to be following any of these leads or coming up with anything or finding any facts. But you're still saying you're waiting for the facts. I keep wondering, who are you waiting for the facts from? If it is the police or the justice system, based on what you said about Mr. Musa Din and the police, how can you then still be waiting for the facts to come from that same police and the justice system? Second of all, I also hear you say that these people can come and testify with guarantee for protection of their lives. You trust that this same police is able to give you that type of guarantee with everything that we've seen going on and all of the things that you yourself have explained. And it's a hard place, because if you have all this information but you cannot make it known, or you have to keep it to save it and keep it secret, I'm just wondering then, have you provided that information to the police as to where the boys were, like in times where you noticed they were to a certain place, or they will be moved from the Poor Society bush somewhere to Monrovia? Are you furnishing the police with addresses of these places, like the house where the boys are and that kind of stuff? How much information are you providing the police? And if they're not following up on it, I'm just wondering then, how come you're so sure that they are able to provide you the facts? Who are you waiting for to give you those facts? Which is why I'm kind of stuck trying to understand, because everything you just said shows gross incompetence on the police part. And I'm just trying to understand, how then do we expect that they will ever be able to get you to that place of a logical conclusion that you're hoping for?
And to add up to Leo's argument, you alluded, you just don't trust the system, you don't believe in that, and you have all right to do that, because based on your experiences, the bottom line, at the end of the day, they are the one going to prosecute this case here. How do you reconcile that?
Reconciling this and showing that the lives of these people are guaranteed is based on the fact that there are other international partners, which name we can mention now, that are working with us behind the scene. And they've given us assurance that they are going to do their best. These are people that can pull this government by the leg, by the nose at any time, and they will obey. When we say we wait for the fact, now that we reported the case to the Liberian National Police, who are the first point of contact in terms of surveillance issue, they are to do the report and submit it. Now here's the question: have they completed the report? What have they established? Nothing. So we don't want to jump the gun by moving strictly to court when we don't have a report from the police that we can also use and say this is a lie and all of that the police are bringing up. But we want to use the consultative method which we are using right now. You know, we believe with this, a lot of things will come up more that will shock the public and the world at large. So the issue of confidence and all of that, at once, we have to have it and move on. But again, we can be assured that things will get better and things will be fine, most especially for our children.
So let me ask you, Pastor, before we wrap up here and talk to my folks before we call the evening here. When last did you get any information from these people here? When last your sources, the intel that you are getting, when last you heard from them?
It just on Tuesday when we went to present our petition, we also got intel at the house. Till Tuesday, we got intel at the house.
You were called that they are well, they are okay.
We were told that they are okay. Right? At that same capital, we were told that.
Are they in Monrovia? No?
Yes, they are in Monrovia. Yes, they are in Monrovia. They are in Monrovia.
Are they telling you who is holding up to these people?
Which we don't want to point fingers right now.
Do you know the location?
Moses, Awuswa, and Abraham, G. Samuel are the ones who are having our
So
children.
wherever they are being held
We are
up,
not
do you
accusing
think?
any other person. We are
Yeah.
not pointing finger to any
So-
other person besides the two of them right now.
So, judging what you are saying, you strongly believe whatever they are being held up, it is under the directions or supervision of say Moses and the other gentleman you're talking about.
Abraham, G. Samuel, yes.
Abraham, G. Samuel. Are they the same folks that are rotating them, moving them from one point to another? You think?
It can be also. It can be under their direction. That okay, at some point in time, move them to this one, just so that people's eyes can be on them and all of that. But they have been heavily guided.
I have a very quick follow-up question.
Children have been
guided by whom?
Have been heavily guided.
By whom?
They could have private security or whatever securities, but they have been heavily guided.
What is the identity of those security people? Do you know? Have they disclosed that to you?
Which they have not disclosed that. If they do it, we will obviously let you know, because we got nothing to hide in this matter, because we want our children.
Do you think the police or the government or someone from the higher up is involved in part of this? What is ongoing?
Well, the family will not want to say that. We want to point fingers to that.
Most likely the situation, it seems to me.
Especially from this entire situation. You getting me?
Yeah, I said most likely, even though you don't have the evidence, but it seems to me from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we don't have the evidence, so we don't want to say that. But initially, from the start, some.
Oh yeah, you may have lost them there.
They have not come up to say a word. They have not come to refute what has been said concerning their involvement with our children. But we are not basing our fights and argument on that. Our attention is on Mr. Moses Ahuswe and that of Abraham G. Samuel, an employee of the National Security Agency.
Okay. This whole thing seems to be shifting here. I will go back to my colleagues and we're going to call it for the day. The last time we have this conversation here, then you guys were told here that more or less it was some sort of political or some sort of ritual was being carried out by some politicians with the hope of getting a victory in the senatorial election. That case seems to be that seems to change because they are, like you said, they are alive.
Yes. So the thing is that in Liberia, people got a tendency to test the waters, test family to see their reactions.
So does that mean you guys headed you ran before your shadow to have come up with that conclusion or a section that
because that was the purpose. Our children were being held for ritualistic purpose.
Is that a slip of tongue, or you still believe in that today?
Yeah, we still believe in that. They are being held for ritualistic purposes.
Okay, let me go to gentlemen. Before we go to Leo and Pa George, I see you working in your seat there. What is running through your mind, Leo?
Yeah, I'm confused. I'm hearing Pastor Jala saying on one hand, they are talking to all these powerful forces in the international community. In fact, you made a remark, Pastor, that these people are people who can pull the Liberian government by their nose whenever they want. These are people who can do whatever they want to do to make the Liberian government move. And that's why you are so hopeful that these people will ensure the government. And then you have all this wealth of information at the same time. Intel on the movement of these boys, intel on the fact that they're alive, intel on the fact that even in your geographic location and you can pin it down. And yet all these international players are helpless to do anything, but you believing that they have so much power that they can move the Liberian government in whatever direction they so wish, but they can't help you conclude this matter that's been going on for 6 months with this type of intel that you have available to yourself. They cannot pull the strings and be able to get to the bottom of this, but you still have to wait for the Liberian government to do its part. And you are convincing me that these people can make the Liberian government do its part. What if the Liberian government does not come true? How come you're not using this intel for the partners and people and friends who are trying to help you, these powerful partners, to weigh in on their influences and on their powerful status to be able to just bring this matter, because your relatives are suffering. Whatever the case, they are being held hostage. I want to believe that they might be in very dire situation. And how come you're just playing it out rather than using your international friends with this wealth of intel? Any security, I'm not a security person, but any security person will tell you, in fact, pinning it down to Monrovia, that is so small.
Go ahead.
And diplomacy work in a unique way and style. And for that, people will not want to take matters into their own hands. They will not want to go against your constitution. They will not want to jeopardize their participation and their help with your government and its people. But what they can do is that they play the devil advocacy and say, we get information about XYZ place. What's happening there? You know, people could quickly shift things around. You know, to convince people, you can work overnight, you can work endlessly. And one thing I've come to realize in life is that to lie is very, very hard. And when you realize, and people realize that you are lying, you come to a point where you get frustrated.
Who is lying, Pastor?
What?
Who is lying?
Moses, Ahuswe, and Abraham G. Samuels are lying.
So, and I know I asked this question, I hate to sound monotonous here, but I asked this question in the past. What is the uniqueness? What is the relationship? Why somebody you guys been knowing for 30 years plus will do this sort of thing like that, like you strongly believe? Why are you think?
Knowing somebody over 30 years is a good and longer time. But being deeper into the person is another thing. The children may have grown in the hands of Moses, or as an uncle or a father. So now they come to see him on the street, go to his working place. But they don't know in the end, at night, what he does. So, yes, we have the relationship for the years, but we are not always with Moses at night. We are not always with Moses for the 24 hours. The little 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 5 minutes we have with Moses, we'll see Moses as a person standing, and then he will be friendly, open, and jovial. But when he leaves our presence, we don't know what is involved with. So we can't tell.
Do you regret ever having some sort of a relationship, friendship, of for all these years, understanding, knowing what is unfolding right now? Is that a regret on the part of the family?
As a stand, if Moses wants to talk to us, he can do that. If Moses wants to call us, he can do that. If Moses wants us to have dinner, we can do that. The fact remains that we want our children. And Moses, you can help, or whatever means you can help us to get our children. You let us know. The rest of it will leave you with your conscience. We'll leave you with the Lord to persecute you. But we will be good.
Okay, before you give your final word, let me go to Pa Joyce if you have something before you can give your closing.
Yeah.
Pa Joyce.
Mr. So, yeah, this thing is spinning my head. Really. This is that's a case that these people are going through. But let me ask a couple of questions before you leave. Since this case gone cold now, I would say cold. Have you people continue to search that rubber band? That's one. Secondly, I hear that you're calling all the international institution names. If the government of the Republic of Liberia come out to say there is no sufficient evidence to link Moses to the missing boys, you turn to the international organization. They ask the Liberian government, and the government say, hey, our security apparatus had done all the investigation to tell us there's no link to these missing boys. What would be the next step? Is there civil liability people going for? Now, the last one is This case you are referring to, that people giving you intel here and there. And let me go back. You talk about your own security in Liberia, which of course I cannot challenge you on the ground. You know how the terrain look like. So if you say your security or your security is at risk, I cannot argue that. But I want to know again, if you people have credible intel that these young men are somewhere in Monrovia. I mean, I know Monrovia, I grew up in Monrovia. I don't know how big is Monrovia, but if you people got credible intel, why you people cannot storm that and let the authority come in?
Okay, I think we had a question.
I'm sorry to say that, but these are human life. It's not chicken.
Okay.
And I have never seen this kind of story since I was in Liberia. For people to go missing 6 months and people still believe that they are alive in that small country. I'm not trying to dash your hope, but I just been very real. There's something that everybody in Monrovia that on this case is missing.
All right. Let's go to Pastor Pastor Waxin, and he's going to be closing up. Pastor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you want to respond and make a final statement? We'll keep having this conversation.
Let me respond to the first question. What if the government tells the international community that they have exhausted all efforts and there is no evidence or link to this? Then we will also request the international community to help us with this, which the government will have to accept, and then they can come in with all the sophistications. We can go to the water, they can walk, compare time, talk to those who we need to talk to, and then they will be able to establish a fight. And we believe with their credibility and neutrality, whatever they say, we will accept. If that be the case, then so be it unto God, who gave us those children, and we will choose to take them away from us like that. So, and lastly, to your next question, I understand the fact that we need to do something, we need to take an action. But we're interested to know that at about 8 o'clock in our country, now some areas 7 o'clock, you don't see people walking on the streets because they are afraid for their lives. They are afraid for their lives. Taking action in Liberia as citizens in this country is not an easy thing. You will get beaten for your own right. Things will go wrong with you. The people will say you should have known better. And that will be the end. Nobody will come to your crowd. Nobody will come to your stand. And if your families are not strong enough, the kids will remain like that.
Okay. Lastly, Pastor, before you make your final comment, let me ask this question here. Do you have anything like a material or any evidence in your possession that was lastly seen with this gentleman, what I was recovered, or these people that are calling, that they sent anything for that matter, be it shirt, clothing, pants, slippers, sneakers, or anything for that matter, material like that you have in your possession after this incident was reported?
That has been our plea to them, just in case they have any of such, so they can be able to send to us, and we can also use and inform the public, and we can also use to provide to our partners. So we are still working on that.
Are they willing? Those folks that are calling, are they willing? They could steal one of them.
Yeah, they're willing. Once they say once they have the opportunity, they will do that, and then they will be able to send us the photo. But as it stands, there are certain places now when you go in, they can search you, take your phones from you, put it in a pin, and say no phone until after whatever meeting you're going for. You go and take your phone because of the secret recordings that people do nowadays in our country. So people are very careful. So you go in a place
So why these
where
people are not telling you guys this is the location of these gentlemen, and then people, you have your area vigilante group, and God for, I mean, anything can happen. People can go and rescue. Why these people are they
we
telling you people their locations, or they're just telling you say we're in Morovia? Morovia, I mean, it's big.
Alfonso, the thing about it is that we can take a stand, but people got too many ways to work.
Okay.
And let it be known to you that whatever we do now will fall back on us. Whatever we do now will fall back on us. And that's what we don't want.
Okay. Is it possible that maybe through you, we can talk to the mothers of these children? These are the people that, carry the pains of these young men. And if possible, again, if you can reinforce to your, to Kofi Woods, your lawyer, that we can have a conversation with him as well on LPR here, as to see the legal steps that he's taking, how far he's trying to pursue this case here, because this is becoming to be like a cold case and an unresolved case.
Yeah.
Yes. For the situation of the mothers appearing, I can arrange that, but we'll have to look at time.
Yeah, definitely.
Time of the major part.
We can
So
work.
I would just
We can work around that. We can work around time more or less in the day, not this sort of hour here. We want people
yes.
to hear
For
from them.
me, it's okay about this time, but for them,
Yeah,
we got to do it around the day. Our Liberian time at most 6 o'clock can be okay for them.
4 or 5 o'clock. Let me know, and we can put up something. We want to do everything possible to get the information out there. I think that is very, very much important. And in a fair fashion, so we'll try to reach out to Director Moses Carter again, like I did in the past multiple times, not to create balance, to hear their version in terms of how they are prosecuting this case, except that he's been willing to come on LPR here. But I hope he's going to make time for us again. So before we let you go, what would be a final word message to other Liberians inside Liberia, outside of Liberia, that are so concerned and listening to you this evening about those 3 missing boys?
Well, let me conclude by reading this passage in the Bible, the Holy Bible, Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And it says, and we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Everything is working for our good. All you can do for us, keep praying with us, keep standing with us. Whatever little way you can help us financially, you can also do that. Because as it stands right now, for us to actually move freely is challenging for us. We will move, we'll have to go be home sooner, we will be having to ride vehicles, different vehicles. We don't know what is it like for us. We don't know what is being planned for us. Keep praying for us and know that our children are still alive and they will be coming home very, very soon. Thank you ever so much. And God bless you.
Okay, Pastor, thank you so much. When we sound a little bit tough here tonight in asking these questions, we also want to create a fair view where we can get an inner part of what is going on. That's what we are assigned to do. And I'm looking forward to having conversations, hopefully with the parents, to see. I know it is a painful conversation. No mothers wants to go through this here, but we want to do everything possible we can to get the information out there so that people will be able to make an informed decision. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to having you here again at some point in time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Gentlemen, let me come back to you guys here. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to see what I can digest or sort of what sort of suit to put on to get this here. Are we going to get to a finishing point of this with a resolution by hoping? And I'm hoping that the children are still alive or well. But I remember in the 74, 75, I was in between 74, 75. I was in Sino, where you used this thing they call boyotin. I know Pa George, you would know about it. Well, a Taino case. That case in Sano County, it was a case. It didn't go more than 1 month. I mean, and there was a vehicle those days. The government of Liberia were using the license plate, rare license plate. Those days, most of the time they were using the Isuzu Jeep. And the Isuzu Jeep that came in the city that were carrying on the arrest when the security people came, it was the number plate was GV20. And I had that kind of name GV20. Believe me, the superintendent, the county attorney, all of the big boys in the city, people from Sano, they know that story, that the Grace Peace and all of those people, when they were arrested to be people that were formed in the killings of Taino. This is where we are with this case here. Are we going to get to the finishing line of this case? 4, 5, 6 months now? Do you also take into consideration the information these the pastor or the family are providing? Are they authentic, or somebody playing games like I asking?
Mr. So here is the thing. You know, security is all based on intel and lead, following up. That's all security work with. It's not that matching the perform. But from what the pastor is explaining to me, up to us, I don't want to pinpoint it, but I see that from what the pastor is saying, if it is true, I see that the police is not exerting effort in this case. And if the police cannot exert efforts in the case, it just happens. Who will solve the crime? Because every information people get, they pass it on to the police. Okay. It is those leads that the police is supposed to follow. Maybe you get 10,000 leads. You drill down, maybe you say, okay, I got 2,000, 1,500. This one now, we can go on. But I'm not seeing that from the police. From the outset of the case, we offer it. What they said, oh, the boy was in the Porum bush. And I told people, I said, this was a lie. I said, this was a lie. On the platform, I said, I challenged anybody. I said, this was a lie. I said, because I've been a member of the Porum Society. I know how it works. So if even the people who violated, if the guardian, the devil come to try to make that pronouncement that, hey, people violated the guardian. But I said, the devil had not spoken. The Zoe had not talked. Why he put? I said, this is not true. Now, today we hear that the calculator from the people in Monrovia. Okay. I didn't know what transported to Monrovia.
Yeah, that's a quick question. That's a good question there too. I remember that Yancey case. Yes, Mike. So, Leo. Yeah. Don't you think here? Let's do a little bit backtracking here. What does Chief need again? Chief
Zanzankawa.
It was reported. I don't know how true it is. I hate to do seconds to guess stuff here. But I listened to some of the conferences that the chief needed to give okay because of society. I couldn't just get that. Don't you think this chief here said needs to come forward, if and only if what was reported at the time that these cases were there, but the chief the one needed to give the okay. So the chief is higher than the national government. Do they have government in government? I don't understand that.
And that is part of the problem here that I keep saying. There are two things that are going on here. One, clearly the Liberian National Police is incapacitated and, in my opinion, unable to handle a matter with this type of dexterity. We saw what happened on Broad Street when the two auditors were found mysteriously dead in a car, right? Something as simple as just protecting the crime scene for an investigation to ensue the Liberian police failed. They could not maintain a crime scene, right? That should be the basic ABC. You came to a scene, there was a crime that committed. What did they do? They sat in the car, the very car they found the people dead in, and decided to drive it to the police station, right? Now, imagine a case like this that requires multiple sources, forensics, and, intelligence investigation, like following leads. Some may be there, some may not be. They don't even have the equipment to begin with. You know how long it took for the National Police to even get to the place they were talking about? At some point, I heard they say they decided to even turn around and go back because certain political not has to go. And then you come to the traditional side. People are telling you the chief said this chief got to say so. So my thing here is, this is the problem we're talking about in Liberia with the family. I'm a bit worried that they may be helping to give the police a pass for not doing an effective job on this, because they're showing that they got so much competence and they got so much ability. They are literally saying they have more ability to do this stuff than the police. That's what they're basically saying. And in my opinion, where do you draw the line of saying either you distrust the police at all and you've decided to disengage with the investigation and you're going with your own private investigators? And, people do that. Even in the West here, people decide to hire private investigators.
So are you saying, are they not working enough with the police? From a greater portion, or there have been a greater apprehensions about the work of the police? Unfortunately, it is only the police, the very security system has the capacity to deal with this, to carry out anything. So it's like a piece of cloth between the scissors. You want to call.
And here is the problem: they are openly saying they do not trust the police, at the same time saying they're hoping the police will go and do this, right? You can't work with people you distrust. I can be here depending on you, Mr. So the reason you pick up your phone in this country and call 911 is because you have the trust and confidence that when 911 comes, they will do their job impartially and, and unearth the facts and be able to deal with it as it is. But if you say you're calling 911, but at the same time, you know that 911 will not do their job, you can't even trust 911. You think you already saying you think 911 is in and has connived with osmosis. They've said that many times, that they think the police is working with osmosis to protect osmosis.
Yeah, so let's put all into context. Joyce, let's put all into context here. What we hear within the public domain from the family, right? What they put out there within the public domain, is that what you think they are coming forth with when they meet the police during conversation as well? You think so?
No, I think it's even damaging. Because first of all, if they were working with the police, in my opinion, and there was trust, then we'll not be having these kind of public statements coming from the family. I think it would be the Liberia National Police and the Ministry of Justice that would be responsible to be briefing the public regularly around what is happening. But the police have told you the last time that the family is not cooperating with them. The last time I heard Moses Carter speak, he said,
so
whenever they
in the games here.
So, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Somebody needs to tell us exactly where this problem is coming from. Because in my opinion, I don't see this investigation continuing from the police side anymore. I've heard nothing about it. Now, I may be wrong. They may be having something maybe going on.
Because they were very definitive at the time that these people were, they told them because somebody was seeking political office with the election. And that's what on the basis of that, because I will get a video here on the basis of that, I was asking them, and that this seems to walk back, even though still finding it heavy to have that sort of correct the part, Josh.
Here's the thing, let me say this. Even in the West, even in America, we got black people as a whole got reservation of police in America. Okay, let's go back to Liberia. This is not a theft case, and the police should have a responsibility to the citizens. So if there are people going missing, I mean, see the frustration. What you do when they lead to your story to you, or you say, hey, give me the information. Take the information and say, okay, we're going to send officer, we're going to follow up these leads. But when the police is telling people, hey, we don't want to listen to what you're talking, this is what we say, then of course, this is why the trouble comes in. Because as an officer, you have to take into account that person is hurt. So what they tell you, if it is not true, you can say, oh, I don't believe it. Okay, give her all the information and all the intel, continue to bring it up. We are following up on it. With that, you give the person hope. But Moses Carter is a liar. I say, Opera, Moses Carter is a liar. When this thing happened, these are 3 people that are going missing. On a serious scale, police are supposed to come out every week to brief the public and they find out on progress they have made. But they will not do it. And when you don't do it as law enforcement, then you create doubt for suspicion, mistrust. And this is what happening to these people. You talk about the bodies that are on broadsheet. So how to handle it openly. carelessly. Everybody, we're talking about again, how they handle that kind of situation. Temporary evidence, destroying evidence. Now, look at the incident. The man mentioned the body that they said it was one of those boys. Did the police do an autopsy, DNA? Because the parents are all there. Did the police conduct a DNA to say, okay, we got DNA of the dead person, let's get DNA from you to compare it? Did they do it? How will you just bring a body to someone say they identify the body? Is that a professional police work? No. Now the mentor is a 70-year-old man, and they're talking about 30 to 30 somebody-year-old man missing. You go bring 70-year-old man body there, and you tell the man must accept it. What are the evidence to link that body? If they say no, what is the evidence you have to say, hey, look, these are the DNA we are doing. This is your child. Where is it? It's not there. So this part, when you do that, you create room for suspicion from the family to accuse the government, and this is exactly what is going on. And I had to say that's a role I was trying to go down to tell the pastor and the people, look, this case I consider as a cold case now, and the next thing you know, it will die down. Nothing will come out of it. Because if the government is telling the people, oh, you don't trust us, bring your own investigation, is that the last resort for the government? Are the police, they have exerted every effort to come on out to say, hey, our investigation conclude by this time that these boys were not drowned, or they were drowned, or we cannot find them. Have they done that? No, they have not done anything of the such. So, here we are now. The Senate will call these people, and they cannot go on with any prosecution because the police will have to bring out a report. Then the Justice Minister to the Solicitor General will determine whether they have sufficient evidence to take the accuser to court. And if the police does not present anything sufficient to link Moses and his partner to that case, the government cannot go ahead. So maybe in the end, they may sue for a while, several several damages and things. That's what the family will end up doing. To sue Moses. And that's what the bro I was going down to ask him. Even if he was saying the international community will come in. Yes, we know how government works. If the ECOWAS come and the Minister of Justice say, hey, the government like say, hey, as far as we are concerned, this is what we are doing. We didn't find sufficient evidence. We cannot go ahead with this case. What can you do? Even if they say they want to bring their own people, the government can also be a stumbling block because the government will have to agree for those people to come in to do thorough investigation. So there are a whole lot of layers to go on in this case that I see playing all here. But I can tell you, from what I see, the people alive.
Are we just having a jawbone exercise? I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say this. No. Are we going to get anywhere? Are we going to reach at a conclusion of this whole thing here, or are we just having a conversation?
There will have to be some kind of conclusion. And the good thing I like about these things is, I think something will come of it if these boys are dead.
How so?
And it may not be soon. But here is the confusing thing that I'm worried about. The reason I made this point by Josh, I don't disagree with you, I mean, but it's confusing when the family comes out and spell out the incompetence, and of the police based on their interaction and everything. And then when we ask them, what are you waiting for? They say they're waiting for the facts from the police at the same time. So that means they believe there's some kind of investigation the police is conducting and they will come up with the facts. But then at the same time, on another hand, they are telling us, say, everything we've tried. So I'm just saying the family needs to be careful so that you don't confuse the public to the point where, because you're telling us you're getting all this high intel where the kids are, where they're moving, and where they're not. And people are going like, and this is Liberia, and you said the police is incompetent, and you're telling us that you will not do anything about it until the police, because now you're saying you don't want to break the law, you don't want to take the law into your hands, and then you're telling us that the police is not capable of doing the job, but you know where the kids are.
Yeah. For those who want to participate, you can call that number here. But in fact, is it believable, or what they are saying, alleging, or telling us that these people are being moved from one point to another? This is where they are, and people doing that. Do you buy into that?
I haven't seen no evidence. So to be honest with you, for me, I don't like to believe in things. Those are all alleged until we see some real. When you ask them for names and you ask them for how, they say they can't tell. So there is no evidence to that.
Mr. So, if they were children, children, I would say, okay, maybe somebody could kidnap them, maybe smuggle them out of Liberia, New Guinea, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, or something like that.
These are grown everybody men.
Yes, these are grown-up men. And you're telling me in Monrovia that they got them someone just moving around Monrovia?
I mean, but we don't know their physical state, right? We don't know if they are in good health or not.
Yeah, okay, but that's even make it troubling, because if they are not in good health to move them around, a little bit troubling.
When he says that they are okay, then my understanding, one can come to a sensible conclusion that they are getting more details, but they are not telling us. And that's why I'm asking. I say, but if this is a case, the area
if this is in other countries, I think they've already implicated, and if they're not careful, they might implicate themselves. They could become people of interest.
What I'm asking is that's why you see, this is the thing. But Liberia too is such a country that is based on the work of our own security apparatus. We're quick to adjudicate. We're quick to come up with our own self-cheering conclusion. This is why in this country and in your country, when anything happens, I don't care what happens, family member or some kind of people will be rounded out as persons of interest.
They'll follow the trail.
Same, and why? Because they are trying to follow a pattern here and how things change, and they will talk. It can be your own son. When anything happens, whether you are in a house, they will have to call you and talk to you and take note from you and see what will be.
And if your story doesn't add up, you have to give them an explanation as to how your story doesn't add up.
Exactly, that doesn't happen. So if the police try to do that now, we will smash the police. The people, the woman's son get missing, and you calling the woman, say, no. And this is the kind of conversation we also need to keep, because people also do ridiculous things. We human beings, we do all sort of horrible things, and that's what I'm asking. Is any family member involved in this? It's just hard to comprehend.
But Mr. So here is the thing here. Normally, people who abuse people and things, it's always family member are the most people that always abuse family people. But here's the thing here. See, mostly, and this is why sometimes I always have a problem with the police. Even they try to do the right thing, but they always just blow everything up. See, Moses was on the side where the children allegedly went. What were the statements that they took from St. Moses? Tell the public the statement you got from St. Moses and what your investigation is leading you to. The police don't say anything to people. These are the problems we have. You and I, they were filing a case. The first thing, they made a case about country devil. That was the excuse they were making. Oh, the people say, send by the bush, they can't go there. But is the country devil higher than the government?
That's what I'm asking. Whether they get a different republic that is running within
the country devil operate within the laws of Liberia. So, if there is a missing person or persons in the vicinity, the government can order officers, because there are officers who are from those ethnic who are members of the whole society who can go, who the government can order and say, go and do the search there. Okay? They didn't do it. The county commissioner, the superintendent, you didn't see no urgency on this poor part. Before I talk about the Minister of Justice, are you seeing the Minister of Justice? If the red men based on Anata, they could not get crew canoes, the fighting canoes, to go on the St. Paul River to do search on that river.
But George, let me ask you: you really think, let me put it this way, in your heart of hearts, right? All things holding constant, the way you see, even during the COVID-19 lockdown, the way the John security conducting themselves, you really believe the Liberian security apparatus has the ability, the expertise, the discipline, the technical know-how to conduct an investigation in such a delicate matter? Because this is my question I keep asking myself when these things happen before I even start to put it on.
Yeah,
and it is their job. I'm not saying it's not their responsibility. I'm just saying the failure of our security systems to to get we never even had DNA machine in the whole country. I heard you talking about DNA. Where will you do the DNA?
But, Leo, let me ask you a question. Do the Liberia National Police have trained men? Yes. Do they have logistics? No. What happened in that place? It did not require 25 men to go there. It did not require 25 men.
But they were in the forest for how many days?
Listen, I mean, but because they don't have the logistics.
Yeah.
So when anything happens, the man is telling his boss, well, you want me to go, how can I go? No helicopter. Like I see, people cannot think outside the box. You got
no gas.
You got a river. They say somebody, people got drowned on the river. Why can't you go to West Point and say, look, we need 10 canoes from here. Those canoes were motorboat, with machine.
The policeman ain't even got life jacket. He's scared.
That's the thing. So these are the things you do in this kind of situation to show the public that how much interest you have in the citizen. But nothing I was saying was done.
Then, and I'm actually, you're right.
Yeah, these are things you do. You don't have to have all the resources, but you can borrow from somewhere and say, look, you know what happened? These are citizens. We can go to these people here and get a few fountain men, put them in a kingdom, and let's go up to the river and do a hot search. Do a search on the river. But right now, as I tell you, send the case. If you ask any Liberia National Police person, they will tell you they are not going back there again to do any follow-up, to do a search, send the water receding because there's a dry season and the water has gone down now, to go back on the river and to see where to find some human remains on that river. They have not done that. So how do people conduct the investigation? You are saying 3% got missing on the river. The river at that time, it was
you are the one who just told me they get 3 men, but they not get the logistics. And I'm questioning, do they have, and I know they got 3 men and women for certain things, but I'm just saying when you elevate things like this, because remember that investigation is not only supposed to happen on a scene. There are all kinds of other trails, even in Monrovia and other places that they need to be tracking down, interviewing people, hundreds of interviews.
You're talking to people. The cell phone records. Who was the last one these people talking?
The common cell phone records, we're still fighting away to get access to the cell records.
Can you imagine?
It's still something that's being fought over. So I'm just asking myself, looking at all of it, if I were the family, I would have lied to you. Reaching out to the international community and other people, I would have been very specific. And that's the question I wanted to ask him that I didn't ask him till he left. What are you asking the public? Because in my opinion, this is a case that requires a private investigator at this point.
Yeah. That's
the only way. A private investigator who's focused, who knows their job, gets in there to do what they got to do.
And listen, Leo, that's one thing I always say. Getting people into Liberia to do any investigation is another thing. And the government willing that priority to cooperate with the people is another thing.
But sometimes the government doesn't have to be willing. I've seen private investigator here where the government didn't even know there was a private investigation going on.
Leo, when it comes to this thing, don't talk about Liberia.
But the government got no information. So what your private investigator bring there from the government?
The movement of these people, these people don't know the terrain. They will need someone who will carry them to show them all these places. And if one of the government people can do that, and another person will not get and just do it, if that private investigator goes to Liberia, they want to get somebody that will be able to cooperate to carry them where they want to go. Then the government will say, hey, no, you can't go to this place. We can't guarantee your safety to go to this place. How will the person go? So if you talk about private investigator, if there's a Liberian private investigator who knows the country, who can go in the area, know the terrain, can interact with the people, fine. Then they don't need that kind of assistance. But if there's someone from outside going, they will need full cooperation from the government there to operate. So these are the problems. So yeah, it's not easy to do.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I'm not sure what I'm going to get to the resolutions of this whole thing here.
I'm sorry.
So we're going to be wrapping up here very shortly. But the guy, the big dog, I'm talking about the father of the land. He was in Nimba today, and it was quite amazing. Saying the images coming from my satellite PA he's heading. And let me be fair here, fair to mention, that's my own view. I'm happy he's traveling on that role. What I'll be concerned with after leaving that role, what next? That's what I'm going to see. He did travel first during the campaign, and all of the people who are running their campaign want to be this, and political commitments were made and all of that. But I'm happy that he's going through that same role and all of the presidential convoy, going through that crazy model role and stuff like that. What is important, the aftermath of the visit. What next? What will be the implementation, the result? We're going to be put in place. That is very strategic for the future, for his political future, comes 2023. In the last 10 minutes before we wrap up here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
If the narrative, Leo, if the narrative change in terms of aggressively taking approach on the highway leading to the southeast, Maryland, Sando, and all of that. If that happens, can we come out to say then, George, we are sealing up?
I'm afraid, and I said to someone, like I said when he started, if I were him, this would be my 4th counter tour, because there is something just about that excitement, even if you don't do anything, and you get people excited. People like to be hopeful. That's why we actually go to church. None of us have seen God, but we go to church in a hope that being in a fellowship, and there is a greater being that we look up to. Even when you're dying, when all the doctors give up on you, and the one thing you can turn to that God. When the people say there is nothing else left, that's because humans, we love that ability to inspire hope. So the president going to these places, I think it's inspiring hopes in a lot of people. But here is my fear for him. The CDC itself is known for setting unrealistic expectations. They're known for over-promising and under-delivering instead of under-promising and over-delivering. So they go into this place.
They are flipping the coins around.
Exactly. They're going to this place, making all these commitments. And a big disappointment was actually Bond County, before I missed that, because that's part of my county as well. There was not a single project to dedicate in Bond County. Number 2, conspicuously, the president started his story in Bond County and the vice president is missing when it is the vice president's hometown. This is just symbolically, it just looked bad. The person who should have been leading the president into Bond County should have been the vice president. You can have a vice president for one of the biggest vote-rich counties in the country and the largest tribe in the country, right? Because the Pele people are not just concentrated in Bond, they are all over the place.
All over the place.
The largest tribe in the country and one of the largest vote-rich counties that was instrumental, to your elections, president.
Is there a political dent looking what is happening now? The current vice president, Dr. Howard Taylor, the people of Bond County, even though few people came, he still wrap around with these people. I'm not sure what sort of political weight that they have.
It has been proven.
So his political tie.
It has been proven. The senatorial election, it has been proven. The vice president openly says she will not support the ruling government candidate that she is a part of. She openly says she will not do it. She did not do it. Pa George, go ahead.
You're running out of thought. Pa George.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, and I always say this. President, we are touring. The country is good. The road projects, they are picking up. But 2023, you think you'll be able to make a dent that will change people's mind? And I always say this: the road is a very good project. But Mr. So, if you cannot afford to send your child to school, you cannot afford a meal, you cannot go to a hospital, you think you will value that road? You will not. Though it's good, but look at your condition. Secondly, and I said this, President, I don't know the strategy involved. You go into Joel Howard town, hometown, Sunday district, that's the district I come from. I always say, that's why I have some issue with Joel Howard Taylor. You go into Joel Howard hometown.
You advise the president on that, not to carry Joel?
No, sir. You go into Joel Howard hometown. You did not invite her. The representative is not there. If you're taking me to Bazon, Mr. Tu, I'm going to visit Bazon, and you and I work together. I'll leave you behind and go to Bazon. to Basma, I mean, or to Jaudi. I go
And
there with all you.
and don't even mention her. And
And
don't
don't
even make any mention.
What do you think about thing of me?
Okay, yeah, is one of our onliners, Monant. Good evening to welcome. We always like to bring the views and opinions of our people there. Let's go in this one here. Monanta is saying, my friend, none of us know why the vice president decided not to travel with the president. Let's think twice when speaking. She may have refused to go.
But
And,
just
and that right there is the problem. Even if she did refuse to go, then that is an even bigger problem that the sitting vice president from Bonkan, and 2023, Bonkan is going to be a battleground, period. Whether you like it or not.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't hear I listened to Samuel Twain. You know what Samuel Twain said? He was speaking to a group of young people in Bonkan. He said, this will not be our first visit. In 5 minutes on Mange and myself, we have made our business to be come here every time to talk to people about the government policy. So I said, Samuel Twain, what do you have to explain to the people of Bonkan to connect with you? You are Minister Mange.
So let me muddy the water here before we go. Amos George, you are from Bon County. Leo, you are from Bon County as well.
I'm between Bon and Lofa. My parents both born in Lofa.
You all dwelt county citizen. Lofa is consequential in the election. Bon
is consequential.
Is vital into the process. Let me start with Pat George here. He's a strong critic of this government objective in his own view. If you were to be advisor to Joy Howard Taylor, will you still tell her to go as a running mate to the president, even if the CDC, did not ask? Will you ask her to still be a running mate to the president?
No, they will not even care about. I will even tell her not to do it because this one have been insulted. This people don't respect her. What is the need? And the marriage supposed to be ending I think next year.
Yeah, according to their
agreement, a formal agreement.
It's interesting. That's what we're going to see how that plays out. Leo, can you provide? Is anybody happy to provide such a
Yeah, I honestly, I've said it over and over. The vice president finds herself in a very tight position, and I can see how her position, she can keep it being tenable if she's not allowed to be the vice president she should be. The reason you become part of a government so that you can support that government, so you can feel part of it. And if you tried everything and it's not working, I mean, the only option you got is to keep your dignity because her reputation is on the line. You remember what happened with Joseph Wakai? They hung Ellen Johnson's legacy around his neck.
Yeah.
They say you were vice president for 12 years on the city. So the good thing you take it, the bad thing you take it. So the vice president stands in the same space right now.
Prepare to end her political career, or she can embark on something different?
No, I think she can back on something. She can definitely redefine herself. We've seen the vice president come back, and this is not the first time. We've seen her where everybody thought she was dusted and done and dead.
She possibly can align with the opposition at some point. But those people in the opposition, they are close friends. Darrell Dillon worked for her, and they are
a long time.
Is it possible that she can be incorporated? And nobody knows. Politics is a slippery game.
She can. If the vice president feels that they better put her ideas forward.
And Mr. Toa, I say this. Even though I have my own problem with the vice president on some issues, but don't let nobody underestimate her in Bon County.
Okay.
And something that people don't know about the Pele people and the Loma people. Women leaders are highly respected by the people.
So
women leaders are highly respected by the people. And one thing I said, the last time he said this, a president we I think he will go to Bonga and get another son from Bon County that the people fall behind nowhere because we set the example. He will use you when he get a position, he throw you up, and he will not go to Lofa.
Yeah, what happens quickly here, a few seconds before I go. Yeah, what happened quickly here? The president was in Nima County. Senator Prince Johnson put a political coil around the president's neck. He needs 3 ministries. In the past, he said making the appointment was not anything. It's not a matter of making whichever. He said you were going to carry a complaint to TB Judge or Joshua or whatever in Nigeria. He did not go. Now he's asking the president to give him 3 ministries to pave his sanctuary because the president visited 3 times. He's going to my county this coming Friday. I'm wondering, I've been trying to call my senators, what are they going to make a request? What a request going to come from Maryland, Sino, who have been here on Sunday, but he said he's going there. So we're going to table that. So with the president honored Prince Johnson to request to give him 3 to major ministry, because NEMA is also factored in for 2023. So now
Heavily.
Prince Johnson has made a good political calculation to tell his NEMA and say, hey, and you saw I brought a mayor and you listen to me, you hear me telling him, say, you girl, he's not doing that, he's taking it. The guy, he's a smart guy. He thinks before daybreak. So he's taking the load off his head now. In fact, it's already off. Will the president do that? Yes or no?
I don't think the president is able to. That's what I said. They are setting wrong. Mr. So the budget is not going to change. That the same budget they were having, they were not able to do that. So how can you tell me now all of a sudden the same budget is able to do all of the other things they've committed to can do now in addition to the newer ones that they're putting on top of it? It's not just realistic in my mind.
Pa George, would the president honor that request?
It's politics. If you think,
or Prince Johnson is a slippery rock, if you don't know how to do it, he's an alligator. You were going his gut. He throw you in the sea.
Yes, my thing. Prince Johnson, I mean, some of the Malians have allowed themselves to be used as pawn for Prince Johnson to make money. So it's just one of those things. So maybe the president might give him one ministry or 2 ministerial position, and he go and collect some money from those people.
Propo can say Prince Johnson will be fighting for his own senatorial seat. I don't even know who. If a CPP, to be honest, I don't want to sound ridiculous here, Prince Johnson will most likely win. And I know because if CCPP, if they were just unable to neutralize Jeremiah Kuhn, whose Prince Johnson held his hand, and CPP, WPP, all the 4 political parties, they also greedy. They couldn't come to a consensus to get one way breaking away. Can they? I don't know who's they're going to produce for Ty to really feature against Prince Johnson for his to hold. I don't know. I don't want to. You never know. Anything can happen. But this going to slip away. Like I said, if they are taking that seat, it will put in political pressure on Prince Johnson with the possibility of the full collaborative party. Well, gentlemen, Pa George, you have a final thing to say before we go?
Let me just say this thing. President Weah, if you think NEMA candidate alone can put you to the presidency, go ahead and leave Lofa, leave bombing, and the rest of the country. Just focus on NEMA in the southeastern region. If you think they will make you president, I hope to see it. Good night.
Okay, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. What a fascinating conversation. Sunday, I will be hosting E-Raw Medicine. Is a young guy contesting to fill in the gap of Zoe Emmanuel Pennon in Grand Gita County. I'm waiting to see it. You're going to enter, the president going to enter Grand Gita this Sunday, Maryland, Sino, and all of the way, and see. Let's see what's going to happen. Guys, I want to thank you so much for your expertise. Leo, Pa George, always good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Take care.
Okay, well, folks, every good thing must come to an end. I want to thank you so much. The search is still on. Let me take a quick break.
Somebody. That thing up where that you have somebody.
You man are Gary Yoga here, so you try to working out there. Well, folks, I want to thank you so much. I subscribe with the Liberia Public Radio. So I go to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. I click like and I follow our programming. I want to thank you so much for sharing your beautiful evening, morning, afternoon, depending on your location with us here. We're always here to keep the conversation authentic, proportional, We hope to reach out with the Deputy Police Chief or Public Affairs Director Moses Carter to get the versions of the story as well. And I hope he will most likely answer our call. He turned us down before in the past. Perhaps he just didn't have the time in his favor, but we want to give them the fair share as well. Until then, by God's willing, same time, same station, we will be here again for more programming. Tomorrow, all things considered, I will be hosting a gentleman. He has an orphanage home in Zwedru, Granger County. We need to know not just all politics, there are other Liberians who are also impacting other lives. We hope to get him here tomorrow. He needs help, mattresses, slippers, whatever. You're willing to come, and I will try to do it in the day so that we'll even see the children, not just he breaking here and talk and walk away, but we want to see the those who are been direct beneficiary to also have them. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening and stay safe.
Oh, he gave me life. I will praise his name. I'm here to praise my God, because he gave me life. Come celebrate.